What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Everyone, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
I'm Colton.
And our guest returning for what, third time?
Third time.
Third time, TOE TAGZ from the Knucklehead Podcast. What's up, man? How are you?
Chilling, bro. Hopefully third time's the charm, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the first two were charms. We're glad to have you back.
Yeah, man.
I'm
love
glad to
having
be
you.
back.
Love
Definitely.
having you on, dude. Let everybody know what's been going on with Knucklehead Podcast. If you guys have anything new going on.
Well, we've been sponsoring some independent wrestling matches and some wrestlers. So this Friday we have Invictus Wrestling we're sponsoring in the Bronx, and then next week we're sponsoring We Are Wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of like independent wrestling and sponsoring and all that stuff, and you know,
That's awesome, dude.
It's dope. Yeah,
I think young Anthony from Raw Down on the Tavern. I believe he does stuff with Invictus.
I think
right?
so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's does interviews and cuts videos for him and stuff.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, ASC, I believe is what he goes by.
Yeah.
But dude, awesome to have you on again. Always love having you. Always great sound from TOE TAGZ.
I know, man. That's what.
Podcasters, take a note from Toe. He always has good sound.
I try, man. I obsess about the little things. You know, it took me a while to get this, but you know.
That's why it took us years to start a podcast, because we wanted to do it.
Gotta sound good.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, I mean, third time, you know the deal. We're here to do some debate, and you guys want to get into some conversation?
Let's do it.
All right. So, first topic of the evening. Is Ricky Starks ready for the main event scene after Chris Jericho? So he has a match which, as this airs, has already happened yesterday.
Yeah, we're airing the day after Revolution, but
right.
You know, he has a big one coming up this weekend.
Big match at Revolution.
After this, is he ready for the main event scene? I think it's possible. You know, it's possible depending on how they push him. I don't think he's going to be thrust into the. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to be with top guys, but I think main event, you're with the champion. He had his little run with MJF. It was short, but I think it was a good sign of things to come. But I don't necessarily think he's going to be at the top. I think he's well on his way. I'm interested to see who they pair him up with after Jericho. I'm interested to see if this is the end of him and Jericho. We know how Jericho likes to take shit long. Yeah. They might continue past this. Who knows? But I think he's main event ready, but I think we probably still have maybe a couple more pay-per-view cycles before we get into that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I do think that, he's definitely going to be elevated on the card after this for sure. And I think it says a lot that Jericho wanted to do this. And I think, Starks has such a connection with the crowd that I think this program with Jericho is a big test. And so far for me, it's paying off. And I think that he can definitely handle with the connection he has with the crowd. I think he can handle a bigger role. I don't know necessarily main event as of right now, but I think he'll definitely be elevated for sure.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, I think he's heading in the right direction. I think Ricky's got main event written all over him. I think he's over with the crowd, but I think we're probably a couple of transitional storylines away from him being in the main event. But I thought I did have that kind of goes against what I was saying a couple of debates ago when we were talking about, is it time for Mox to turn heel? I think this could be a cool way for Mox to turn heel, is to have Ricky keep getting over with the crowd a little bit, and then that be the heel turn is Mox against Ricky Starks. And
they would hate Mox if he did something bad to Ricky.
Yeah.
Well, I've been racking my brain ever since we talked about it. I'm like, how in the hell are they gonna do it? I'm like, man, this might be the way to send that home. But yeah, I mean, I think he's main event ready. I don't think the AEW booking is ready. I almost feel like, and I hope that's not where they're headed. I hope they're not cutting Jericho and Starks off here after Revolution, and then let's just go ahead and force him. Let's go right back to MJF. That's not where I want to see it go.
I mean, I honestly think that he was ready for the main event after Hobbs.
Yeah.
You know, because outside of the WWE guys that AEW has, he's the most ready for the main event. When he had that little promo off with MJF, he beat MJF's ass in that promo.
Yeah.
He did.
He was the first crack in MJF's armor when he did that promo with MJF. Not only did he show he's realer, but he's more passionate about this business than MJF is. Because all MJF does is name drop. And MJF with that title has been a waste. Like every other champion besides Omega. You know, so I think right now, they're holding him back with Jericho. Because Jericho in AEW, after he dropped the title, has been a joke. You know, and the biggest problem with AEW is their booking and how they tell stories. And it's very lazy and it's very fast. So Ricky Stark, they should have just hopped on the wheels with him. I've been saying he should have won that title, that first match with MJF, and let MJF catch up to him and prove that he deserved it, and had that whole program with him and MJF. I'm not really particularly fond of seeing MJF versus Bryan Danielson. For what? Like, in my eyes, like, for what? We all know Bryan Danielson don't want to be champion. And if he wins the title, you wasted MJF. But now you have two brand new guys with MJF and Ricky Starks, two pillars of the AEW company. Wrestling, anybody can be champion. That's what wrestling fans love about wrestling. Anyone can be champion. Anything can happen at any particular time. I think you hold them back, it's ruining AEW. This guy's ready to go.
I'm with you, man. There's only two people that have ever put MJF truly in his place, face to face in a ring, and it's Ricky Starks and William Regal.
Yeah.
When William Regal cut that promo on him, it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. But here's the thing: like, you talk about the booking of AEW, and I think they rush shit so much too. I think they don't focus on certain things that I feel like the fans are just amped for. Like, we all want deep storytelling with House of Black. That's been pretty much nowhere. I mean, hopefully we're getting into it with the Elite, but I think that's definitely something they have an issue with. That is why I don't think Ricky he himself is ready, but I don't think the company has put him in places where what I see on my TV, he's not there in story yet. Like, the only problem I had, like, with him beating MJF for that title is I feel like I don't want us to get into this thing where we're having champs hold the belt for a month.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. That's why I was like, man, that's a quick turnaround for MJF's first reign. Now, if this is his second, third, fourth reign, yeah, flip it, fine. But his first reign, you're going to take the belt off of him that quick. But that being said, I mean, I think they screwed him in that story, because what it should have been, he should have got that fucking Dynamite Diamond ring.
Yeah.
Because you remember, we thought it was going to be Ricky and MJF for the ring, and then he gets the title shot, but they combined it in the same match where if he won, he got both. And I thought that was a major mistake. It's like, I didn't want him to get the title, but I thought him holding that over MJF, like, hey, I took your ring from you. I was like, you fucked up by not allowing that to happen.
He 100% should have had that ring.
But
doesn't make any sense for MJF to have it at this point. He's got the belt. Like the ring is pointless if he just continues to be the only one that's literally ever had it. Like,
and
are we still going to have the match next year? Like,
yeah, he uses it to cheat, but fuck, pull some brass knucks out of your tights, man.
Right.
Go old school.
Which he's also done too. Like, it's just real missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually enjoyed what Jericho's done though since his title reign. I don't
Jericho?
think yeah. I don't think he's been away. I think it's been good for getting people over.
I think that's what he's there for. And
Yeah.
I think as far as like the Danielson thing, I am pumped for that match. I think they've built it pretty well over the last month or so when they started the matches, Danielson having to win. I've been into that, but I think AEW right now, they are afraid, and this has been from the beginning of the company. I think they're afraid to go all in on putting completely OG originals in that main event spot.
Yeah.
Because like, if you look, the first title match we ever saw was Hangman against Jericho. And then it's like, I get it. You're a young company. You're wanting to pull eyes in. What pulls in eyes? Jericho's, Moxley's, they throw it on MJF, but who they got to pull Danielson in to put with him. They're trying to like put these guys that the casual fans know and rub off on these young talent where the fan will be like, oh, well, Danielson's a big deal. I guess this guy's a big deal. Who is this guy? Now for us, like hardcores, dude, I want to see Hangman and MJF. I want to see Ricky Starks, MJF. I think they've dropped the ball on Adam Cole. I think Adam Cole and MJF could be a really fun feud if done correctly, but I think they're scared. They're not to the point yet where they truly trust. And I'm not talking the Kenny Omegas and the Bucks. I'm talking about the people, the young guys who are coming up, the Sammys, the Darbys, the MJFs, all of those young guys they built from the ground up.
They don't have, but I say they don't have the balls to follow through with their plans.
Yep.
Because right now, Daniel Garcia should have been one of the top guys, if not a TNT champion, with the way that Jericho handled him with the Blackpool Liver Fighting Club that they had. That whole dynamic, that whole story should have propelled Daniel Garcia to where he was, and they pulled him back. As soon as they were about to propel him, they pulled him back. They pulled him off with the things. Said, no. Stay where you are. We need you to look like an idiot. And for what? Jericho is going to be Jericho no matter what you do with him. Daniel Garcia should have been a huge star. A lot of these original guys should have been huge stars. I'm sorry for cutting you.
No. I think Jericho has done a better job getting the guys he has feuded with over rather than the guys in his faction.
Yes.
A lot of times, like, he'll put shine on guys. I do think Sammy Guevara benefited from being in the inner circle. He got really cool. Yeah. He kind of fucked himself with the whole tie situation. Yeah. As soon as that came out, fans turned their back on Sammy. But like, dude, Santana and Ortiz come into this company as a hot tag team. They kind of disappeared after a while in the inner circle. You're looking at Daniel Garcia, same kind of thing. Like, I don't want him to fall into that Sammy Guevara thing where he gets lost in the mix. I will say Daddy Magic and Angelo Parker have shined in JAS. I love them. They entertain the shit out of me, but they play their part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jericho helps his feuds better than he helps the guys around him.
Definitely. I
agree. And how long do you, so I know, we talked about not trusting two original AEW guys. How long before we can do that?
I mean, I think you got to take the leap. You got to take the leap.
Yeah.
I don't know how Darby Allin hasn't even smelled that championship yet.
I think he's content being that TNT guy.
Yeah.
Like I remember in the first reign, he was like, he said something about the major belt. He's like, right now, I want to be the guy that makes this belt something. And honestly, he's been the best TNT champion, I think.
Oh, by a mile. Yeah.
And then they screw him with Samoa Joe.
Yeah. Samoa Joe comes back and takes it.
Every time they have someone on that cusp of doing something, it's like, wait, come back. We got another idea. Let the first idea marinate. You can't keep putting cakes in the oven and not putting the heat on. You know what I'm saying? Like, let them bake.
They're trying to please too many people, I think, a lot of times. So they'll run a storyline and then it just fizzles and some other storyline pops up, and that guy, like, case in point, Wardlow.
Yeah.
Dude, Wardlow, such a long story. It culminates with him giving CM Punk the ring to win the dog collar match. Everyone's fucking losing their mind. He wins the TNT title. I mean, people forget how hot Wardlow is, and then he disappears.
Yep.
Nobody cares.
And with the whole, sorry, not to cut you off, Toe, but like, they bring him back for a minute, and the whole story, the whole storyline where Joe cuts off his top bun, and then you have that segment where he gives this great promo about how that's his only connection to his dad, and then boom, how's he not on TV the next week? And then we would go 2 weeks? That was no further development of that storyline at all. I mean, I don't get it unless they're planning on just pushing him, because I know Joe's going on ROH TV. I mean, we'll find out this Thursday, but unless they're planning on playing that out there, I don't know. They're about to totally fumble Wardlow again.
Yeah,
they
situation.
Yeah, they did to Wardlow what they did to Drew McIntyre. Like, Wardlow's hair is like Drew McIntyre's sword. Out of nowhere, there's a story now. And it's like, well, this would have been helpful before this shit happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would have loved to known about Wardlow's father and all that stuff, like during MJF's run.
Yeah.
And then Samoa Joe, like, it's well known about his hair. And then he cuts it off. And then the crowd was like, oh, shit, you cut off Wardlow's hair? Like, we know how important it is to him.
Yeah. Where we knew.
When he cut it off, I was like, is Samoa Joe Brutus Samoa Beefcake? What the fuck you cut his hair off for?
It's like they're correcting after the fact.
Yeah,
like, we gotta fill in that blank. Let's have him tell the story. Where, like you said, if we knew that going in, if you set that up early in his career and then that happens, everyone would have been like in shock. Like, fuck. Yep. But I think it's like a double prong problem with them. Like, with the way they handle stuff. One, I think they have too many people for the amount of TV time. So you're just trying to give everybody a little piece, but nobody's getting a big piece. So it affects the stories. That's why 1 week you'll see a guy and then the next week they have it off, where, wrestling, dude, you got to hit us in the head with somebody to make us fall in love with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another problem is a lot of Tony's stuff. Like, he'll get a match in his head. He'll have this dream match in his head, which is great, but it's like all the story will just build to this matchup instead of worrying about the story itself to get to the match. Like, he just wants to hurry up and get to the match. Like, dude, no, take us on a ride. Take us on a journey.
It's like Dave Chappelle said that he writes a joke. He has a bowl full of punchlines, and he'll pull a punchline out, and then he'll write the joke around the punchline. And I feel like that's a lot of like what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You have, the hair, you cut the hair, then you tell the story about it.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense.
Seriously. And also what they need to do is figure out what's going, like, this match, this is the story of this match. Then what's going to happen after this? Like, what's going to happen after? Like, who's going to be the next guy up, or how can we get more money from a rematch? It's literally every time after a pay-per-view, that Dynamite, guess what, guys? We resetted everything. Now we're going to figure it out again.
Right. It seems like a reset.
Yeah, and I mean, it's cool because their actual wrestling inside the ring is way better than WWE's on the weekly shows.
Oh, it's not even close.
But if you put a little effort into those, things that are going to captivate us and make us come back week after week, you'll have a way better product.
Like, we'll get into it in one of the topics coming up, but like WWE has a little bit of that problem too. Like, yeah. I think it's just wrestling in general. Like, a lot of the storylines.
We ready to move?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move.
Transition.
Yeah. I think this is a good transition point. So let's get into our the second topic of the evening. Should it be Jey versus Sami at WrestleMania, or the Usos versus Sami and KO at WrestleMania?
So what I was saying, is WWE has a little bit of a story issue too. Now, the thing they have in the feather in their cap is they have a long, expertly told story going on right now. Bloodline.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the bloodline. There's been so many memorable segments from what was the big around the table, the trial of Sami Zayn, there's been so many moments. Wrestling's about moments, and this has had so many of those moments. Montreal with Sami. I mean, Sami, cracking Roman, making his decision, even all the way back to the Hell in a Cell. Like, it's a great story. You look down the rest of that fucking card, man. I'm not convinced they're just I feel like WWE's always kind of been like that, though. They got their top big story that they push, and everything else. I mean, I know Rhea's getting a push, but like, where's the real good other stories? And it aggravates me with someone like an AEW or WWE, especially WWE with this. It's because I see what you're doing at the top of your card. I see how much care is being put into the bloodline. Why can't that trickle down to some of those mid-card storylines? I mean, Brock Lesnar and Omos, Bray Wyatt and fucking Bobby Lashley. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, this is trash. Like, there's no care. That's the most slop together shit ever. But talking about Sami versus Jey or Usos versus Sami and KO, to me, it's only one way you got to go. You got to go Sami versus Jey. Because initially, when I was thinking about it, I'm thinking at first, like a couple weeks ago, I thought they might be building towards a brother versus brother, Jey versus Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I was hyped. But with Sami versus Jey, you kind of get those brother elements too, because both of them kind of feel like they've been wronged by Roman. Jey is going to be riding the fence. I do think they're teetering a little bit of like, Jey, make up your fucking mind. It's like this. I'm getting a little burnout on Jey. Just will he, won't he? Make a choice, man. You've been in this middle of the road moment for a minute.
Yeah.
So it's like, I do think there's more emotion there, though, with those guys. I think Jay's going to have to battle against a guy he respects. Torn with the blood, but torn with his blood family. I think if you do the tag match, it's kind of feels hot-shotted or forced to me.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see KO and Sami attached together again. They're always attached. And I feel like by them being attached, neither one of those guys can ever break through and be looked at as a true top guy. They're very popular. Sami's the biggest he's ever been. But if he's always like just attached to KO, what's next, man? You build Sami up to this moment and you're going to throw him in a tag match and possibly win the tag titles. And then he's in the tag team scene. Like, that's how you're going to use Sami Zayn when you built him to this moment. This dude should be a top main event guy from the way you've built him. And you're going to throw him with KO in a tag match? Seems lazy. Seems like, oh, we have these guys. They need time. They're in this story together. All four people. Let's put them together. It does not make sense for me for Jey to go back with Jimmy. It just doesn't. I don't buy it. I'm not bought in on that.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. That there's more of a brother dynamic with Sami and Jey than Jimmy and Jey, because like Jimmy's just that mindless guy that's just agreeing with Roman, and he's like, we know that they're gonna have each other's back, but they didn't establish that. Everything went around Sami, and like you said, they always tied together. When Sami won the NXT title, Kevin Owens debuted. When Sami fought John Cena for the United States title, the next match was Kevin Owens and John Cena. There's a lot of, as soon as Sami Zayn gets that big push, it goes Kevin Owens. It's true. And they need to break apart from that. With Sami and Jey, I think those two, the story alone inside the match would be a WrestleMania moment.
Yep.
And if you need Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, have him fight Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd watch that match 100%. Yeah. I mean, I know it's supposed to be a debate, man, but I agree with both you guys. Like, I feel like the Usos versus Sami and KO that's a fucking Raw match. That's not that they'll do for 3 or 4 weeks in a row. It's not a WrestleMania match. I think there's a lot of meat on the bone left between Jey and Sami. And yeah, I mean, they don't need to pair. I don't need to see KO and Sammy together. I like seeing it where they just kind of come together and kind of their paths keep crossing every now and again. I'm totally fine with that. I think it's good, keeps it fresh, kind of reminds you of their past and their history. But yeah, I don't want to see them in the tag team scene by any means. I think you hit the nail on the head, Toe, when you said there's a WrestleMania moment in Sammy versus Jay. There absolutely is. I mean, that's the most. I mean,
that's what you want.
Yeah, that's the most story right now. That's probably. I mean, I'm hyped about Cody versus Rowan, but I think there's more meat on the bone story at Sammy versus Jay right now.
Yeah, because that's if he's riding the fence this long, Mania could be the moment he truly decides.
Yeah,
if he has to face Sammy, and they just put it aside, and they have this banger match. And then maybe Jimmy comes down and him getting involved. And if Jay takes his involvement or pushes him away, they make a decision. And then him and Sammy share this moment after the match, whoever wins. That could be a monumental, memorable Mania moment. But
if Sammy and KO just win the titles, it doesn't mean shit to me.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like KO already came out. Yeah, I know they could double back around with story and get him to finally become his partner. But at that point, I'm like, now you've got two teams together that truly aren't aligned. Like Jay and Jimmy, there's a riff. KO and Sammy, there's a riff. And maybe that's the story. And maybe people think that's intriguing. I don't think that's intriguing.
Yeah. And not for nothing, the outcome of this match can determine the future of your title history. Because let's say Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and Sammy beats Jay. Sammy can wrestle Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania Backlash or Backlash for that title. And Jay could go after Roman to try to be the new head of the table because now he's slipping.
Yep.
You can't keep putting... Roman said it best. Before the bloodline, Jay was just one of the twins. He was just one of those Usos that no one knew his name.
Which one are you? Yeah.
Yep. And now we can tell them apart.
Yep.
100%.
Sammy could be SummerSlam for Cody. That's how quick of a turnaround. Like if they wanted to go right into it, or if they wanted to build, and you could go so many different directions.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm with you guys on Sammy versus Jay. I don't want to see Sammy and KO. It's a waste to put them together in a tag team. If they get the titles, it's a waste. Especially with how far Sammy's come in with this whole storyline. What do we do with the tag team titles?
Personally, I was hoping they would be off the Usos already at this point. I was hoping that we were going to see I don't know. I was hoping for a little bit more of a slow burn on the rift between Jimmy and Jay. I know the first week after he wasn't on TV but I don't know. He came back a little soon. I was hoping that Jimmy was going to walk out on Jay in the middle of the title defense and they were going to lose it that way. That's what I was hoping was going to happen, but that's not what happened. But I think I don't know. I think it's more than time to see him come off of the Usos. I don't think you need the tag belts in there to tell the story that we need to tell, with there being a divide in the bloodline and being a Jay camp and a Roman camp potentially. I think that'd be a really fun story to tell. So I don't know, man. I think right after WrestleMania, I mean, it's just natural for them to lose to their next opponent, whoever that may be. Like maybe we put over a smaller tag. I don't want it to be like the Viking Raiders or fucking anybody like that. Yeah, I think it needs to come off of them soon.
You don't like the Viking Raiders, Colton?
Look, man, I'm real sour about this. It's not that I don't like the Viking Raiders. I like War Machine. Give me War Machine all day. Plus her ripping the gimmick from Max the Impaler is just stuck in my fucking crawl, dude. We beat that to death, I know, but every time I see it, it just pisses me off more.
Same.
So yeah, and I know that's not those guys, it's just by association. But yeah, fuck all three of them as far as I'm concerned. I'm tired of seeing them on TV.
I'm with you though. I think the tag belts are a problem in this story. I don't think they're needed.
They aren't. They should have lost them before they got there.
That's why I think if they lost them to a lower tier tag team, it wouldn't hurt them to take that loss.
No, because like Colton said, that's a perfect way. If the brother Riff costs them the titles at, say, Elimination Chamber or wherever, before Mania, then the issue becomes this whole Usos issue with Sammy, and they can really sink in and not have to worry about a title defense kind of muddying it up. And then you get another match. I want to see them focus more on this tag division, dude. Bloodline they've swallowed all these belts. Like, Usos are beyond those titles. They do not need those belts. If you put those on a dude, Alpha Academy.
That's who I was gonna say.
They're entertaining as fuck. Chad Gable. I know they're not together, but when they were rolling, man, I was into them. I like a team like that. Really get behind them. Or I know RKO, or Randy Orton's hurt, but back when RK Bro, that was a team that was kind of, I thought was going to bubble up. Randy gets hurt, out of the picture, but I think a younger team with those belts, letting them grow, get a little better. I just don't think the tag titles are needed right now.
I think them dropping it to a lower tier tag team would help build the tag division.
No, yeah.
That's not there.
Yeah,
That tag division's kind of weak, honestly.
Yeah, seriously. As long as Braun Strowman ain't winning the title from these people, I'm fine with whoever.
Strowman and Ricochet.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
At least they got him out of the Santa Claus pants, though. That's like the only good thing to come from him pairing with Ricochet. Now he's wearing the red tights under some black jeans. I'll take it.
Yeah, but
he was tag team champ with
the little kid.
What was that kid's name?
I can't remember.
Steve or some shit. Like I won him. But he destroyed the tag team division 3 times, and twice was 2 weeks after he came back. So I don't need him in the tag team division. Let him wrestle with the Divas or something. Like, where's Dana Brooke? Let him wrestle with Dana Brooke. Like,
yeah.
Oh man.
Let Phantasma win the tag team titles or something.
Yeah, dude.
Toe, going back to what you said, though, man, I didn't even think about a KO solo Mania match. Like, I mean, there's 2 nights. There's a lot of time. Like, I personally want to see Mania go back to 1 night and cut some fluff. But if we're going to still be in 2 nights, I would much rather see that than another match that I just don't care about. Like,
gimmick on it. Make it interesting. Make it a last man standing or no DQ. I know KO kind of did that last year with Stone Cold, but you throw a fun, interesting gimmick on Solo versus KO, that could be really good.
Like a elders death match or some shit,
Yeah, something.
It's like, because Kevin Owens is trying to destroy the bloodline. Roman Reigns got to deal with Sami Zayn, with Jey, and with Cody Rhodes. Who's to say the elders don't just step up and tell Paul Heyman, like, yo, we want Solo to take care of Kevin Owens? And it'll be like some crazy ass shit, like the African drum match, but let's actually do something with the drums. Give them a purpose. Or just put them around the ring. We have like Samoan midgets around there with pitchforks or something. And if you come out the ring, they stab you in the ass or something like that. I don't know.
No,
Shit.
Dude, but for real though, you kind of got me. I got goosebumps for a minute, because could you imagine a segment on Raw or SmackDown where they pre-tape, they go to Hawaii or wherever, film it on location somewhere where Paul Heyman is going to meet with Afa and Sika.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The Wild Samoans, and they send a message like, we're getting attacked from all angles. We've got Sammy coming after us. We've got Cody coming after us. I want Solo to take out Kevin Owens. And there is an elders like hardcore death, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Bring the midgets in, whatever. But that could be cool, man. And I like the aspect of like KO. One of them's dealing with KO. One of them's dealing with Sammy. Roman's got Cody. It's like the bloodline is being attacked from all angles, and Jay and Jimmy are kind of like, it's like there's cracks in the foundation of this thing. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Man,
We're going to tell a story. Let's fucking tell it.
Exactly.
You know?
they could do that easy too with Offensica living in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Right
Because
there, man.
Find some palm trees, go
Yeah.
out, have a fire, have some tiki torches lit, put
Yeah.
some production behind it.
Just don't get the guys who do the Young Rock, because then everything's going to get fucked up.
We talked to Hawk about that.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything final to add to this before we move on to the final topic?
I think they got to do Sammy J. I mean, I think everybody here, I know it's supposed to be a debate, but I think most fans would agree with that. I would be interested to hear a side for that tag match. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it booked. If somebody's going to book it with Sammy KO.
Like, how do you
versus
do
Usos,
that?
Yeah. To make sense.
Yeah.
But then again, it's WWE. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but they would have to do something they haven't done in 20 years and make those tag team titles relevant.
Yeah.
You know? That's harder than just fucking doing what we said.
bring the midget. I'm in for that. I think
Yeah.
give Toe the pencil for that one, man. Yep. All right. Final topic of the evening. Does AEW need CM Punk back?
All right. I got a little, bear with me here. I got just a little piece I want to get off my chest about this. Full disclosure, I have been all over the place with CM Punk. When it first happened, I was pissed at him. Fire that motherfucker. Get him out of there. And then I kind of was like, maybe there's two sides. You know, I've flip-flopped so much. But it's when new information comes, I go with my heart, man. I'm not attached to any opinion. Like, my opinion changes daily, but as it stands right now, does AEW need Punk back? Yes. And this is why I think they need him back. Tony Khan needs him back. Several people need him back for a specific reason. Tony Khan needs him back to prove his versatility as a booker, to show that turn chicken shit into chicken salad side of his booking skills, to show that in spite of a shitty situation, he can have the savvy to put it aside and recognize good business and have the balls to actually throw caution to the wind, roll the dice, and execute a plan. The company AEW itself needs him back to right the ship on their own history. You can't have a moment like CM Punk's return be tarnished. Not for Punk's legacy. I don't give a shit about Punk's legacy. I'm talking about for the legacy of AEW. That's a top 5 in the last 15, 20 years moment, in my opinion. When he came back in Chicago, that was a big, big moment for pro wrestling. And if Brawl Out is how it all ends, it kind of weakens that moment. Like, he came back and this is how it was, so in and out, one and done. A return from Punk, especially in a landmark storyline, would enrich his entire return to wrestling and bring back the specialness of his monumental chapter in their history. Like, then it would be like, oh shit, he returned. There was the Brawl Out thing, but they worked it out, brought a cool story. He comes back. It rights the ship on their history. The Elite, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they need him back to prove that they can honor and handle the position of executive vice president. Being an EVP means putting the personal shit aside for the good of the business, which is the overall good of the company. If personal feelings about a situation override your judgment on booking a compelling once-in-a-lifetime story, you don't need that position anymore. And lastly, well, there's two more. The fans need him back because of the story left on the table. We're here to be entertained and get those truly special moments that only come from very rare stories. The story is here. This is a rare story. This shit doesn't happen all the time. It's so rare to get a really personal, real story and work it into an angle, all the players are available. To rob fans of that due to hurt feelings and grudges is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. And then lastly, the locker room needs him back. From the wrestlers on the roster who loved Punk and sat under his learning tree, to those who hated the guy and thought he was ruining everything that the locker room was built on. Both need him. You should be able to learn from someone who can give so much back to the business. And you should also learn that although this is your passion, this is also your job. You don't have to get along with everybody. Man up, be a fucking adult, and do business. This is all elite wrestling. This isn't all friends wrestling. And no one fits the original ethos of this company, anti-establishment, fighting the bigger guy, than CM Punk. CM Punk embodies that. So put all the bullshit aside, bring him back, and give us a big story that AEW needs. I'm done.
All right, that's going to wrap us up.
We all need him back.
I mean, that was well said, and you sparked an idea in my head because I was on the other side of the fence. I don't think AEW needs him, Moxie, Bryan Danielson, or any older dude that's in there. Jericho maybe, because Jericho's a genius. You give Jericho a pen and he'll get it over. We're not going to talk about Jericho that long, but those guys I don't think they need because they started off without him and they rolled down that hill with a huge snowball, and then they got all these guys and they put the brakes on everything. How many people were hired and they're not doing shit with them? Keith Lee, not doing nothing with them. Swerve, they forgot what they were doing. The most popular people now that's getting most airtime are the ass boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these people are fucking up that what the vision was originally. And it's not them personally. It's just the fact that they have them there now. It's
a
the
bloated
new
roster.
toy it's the new toy they get to play with. Now, like I said, I don't think AEW needs him to necessarily go beyond and bigger because they are the future of wrestling. And if you show us the future and we have those matches and you're different like that, it works. But if AEW needs him to come back, I think they need him to come back in a role of almost like a leader of a like an NWO type. Like if he comes back, it has to be on a revenge tour, but against Tony Khan, not against the Elite. Where he can come back with with a few people, and the swerve is the Young Bucks and Omega are on his side. Because it's all Tony Khan's
I didn't see that coming.
It's all Tony Khan's fault that shit happened.
I wonder if turning Tony heel, though, is the move. One, Tony, keep him off my screen. Dude can't act.
No,
Don't want to see him on there.
Yeah. Or at least come on without the coke. You know? Don't take the coke that day. You know what I'm saying?
I think if he just went back to the haircut that we see right here, man, it might change a lot.
Yeah.
I think that should change a lot.
Clean it up a little. Have the barber edge him up a little bit.
Because I've seen pictures in the past week or so, just with the build for Revolution, man. I've seen pictures.
He looks
of him
like
backstage,
a fucking mad scientist, dude.
and it's insane. And then I've seen a couple pictures like this one here, where he looks like he's fucking put together, man. And I think if he went back to this, it'd solve a lot of fucking problems.
I agree, but Brother's had a rough fucking year. Like he's allowed to look a little disheveled.
He's had a hard year, dude.
Yeah,
Get a haircut, man. You'll feel better.
it doesn't take that long. I promise.
You can have a barber come in, man. Oh, Joe, he's a barber now.
There you go. Yeah.
Here's the thing, Toe. Like, I'm with you, man. Like, I'm all for, like, we don't need these WWE. I think there was a land grab when Vince was shit canning all of that talent. I think a billionaire pro wrestling fan sees all this talent hitting the market. Fuck, I'd be scooping them up too, man. I would be like cutting checks. But like you said, it bloated the roster. A lot of those people aren't being used. I would like to see people like Matt Hardy even transition into helping, produce matches and do creative and stuff like that. Like, keep them employed, because I do think you need veterans in a wrestling company. But like, I think it all comes down to dollars and cents. Like, having those Moxleys, Jerichos, Danielsons at the top of the card. I mean, if you look at the ratings, they're the people popping ratings. They've got some people, Britt Baker's, Darby's, that pull ratings and stuff. But if you look at Rampage, when they have Jamie Hayter and Emi Sakura at the top of the card, they're pulling a dog shit number. It's that people don't know. The casuals don't know those people. It's not must see. So I think having a healthy, it's like building a sports team. You got to have those hot rookies. You got to have those rock solid, just dogs in the middle of their career. And then you got to have the locker room leaders who are like the vets who show the young guys the way. I feel like a wrestling locker room is kind of the same thing to me.
Yeah. I mean, if they had that structure to begin with, because it seemed like the AEW had their roster, and then the flood happens and he buys up everybody. And then the biggest problem is, AEW is structured in a way is like, okay, these are the guys we're gonna look up to, and then you got 20-year vets coming in, and like, wait, do I look up to him or do I look up to this guy? And now you have those problems in there, but then it translates on TV because it's like, okay, are we building a new star? Because now all I see is CM Punk, and
right?
CM Punk and MJF had a nice little issue with each other. They had a nice little story, but what happened immediately after that?
Right,
CM Punk gets fired, and MJF goes and takes his ball and goes home. The
brawl out fucked MJF.
Yeah.
I mean,
it did. But I think it's been so long since that happened. It would be like Bret Hart going to WCW.
Yeah,
you could have taken advantage of it the 2 weeks after, but now we got to drop it, or we're gonna have to do the unexpected and have him team with them.
So let me set the stage for you. Double or Nothing. The Elite have a match. Say House of Black. They break all the molds and they tell a long-term story with House of Black all the way to Double or Nothing. They have the match. End of the match, lights go out. We're thinking it's just House of Black shenanigans. Lights come on. FTR and CM Punk are in the ring and they attack the Elite. What are you doing, Toe? Are you popping for that? Or are you like, shit?
I'm popping for FTR.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. It would just be like, oh shit, here we go. Because everybody's heard the shit talk in the press.
Yeah.
I mean, it just adds a layer of like, we all know it's scripted. We all know they did a handshake in the back and hey, let's do business. We all know that, but playing on that real shit, that's the sweet spot of pro wrestling.
And I think that's why with my answer, I say they do need him back, just because I think that story is a very rare and unique story to bring reality into wrestling and kind of blur those lines. And I think if everybody would be on board to do it, man, I think that would be just a money grab.
Because here's the thing, man. If Brawl Out was simply CM Punk, say, shitting on Tony Khan or shitting on the company, and he never got into the EVP talk. He never got into the Hangman talk. There was never a fight between the Elite and CM Punk. Something happened. CM Punk walked away and we're in the same situation. I'd say, fuck that asshole. Like, it's not about giving him another shot. I know he can be a locker room cancer with some people, but you hear tons of people, Jade Cargill, Will Hobbs, FTR, tons of guys in that locker room really liked Punk. Britt Baker, like, there's a lot of people that stood up for him. So it's not like it's everybody in that locker room doesn't want him there. It's split. So it's like, if he was just a dickhead who had an outburst, went after the company, made everybody look bad, and he kind of is where he is now, I'd say let him ride. We don't need him. But the fact that it's tied up with guys that could easily give us Kenny Omega versus CM Punk in a main event storyline, and you could really milk that story, to me, it's just it's if you're a wrestling promoter and you don't take advantage of that when you have all the parties under contract currently and you can't make those guys come to the table to do good business, that's fucking rookie booking, man. You have no balls. You have no balls. And everybody involved in that has no balls to put their bullshit aside and say, let's tell one of the best stories this company's ever told. Like, as a fan, that's what I want.
One of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, it has the potential to be one of the best stories told in professional wrestling, period. Like, I'd say, especially in the last like 2 decades, man. Like, not to beat it to death. I know we've been all over the place on this one, but personally, when I first watched, like that night, watching the press conference, the brawl out afterwards, I just thought it was a fucking work the whole time. I was like, man, Punk's out here throwing some real fucking heaters. This is going to be great. What are they going to say about this? What match is going to come next? And when the next day they were like, oh no, like he's fucking suspended. He's not coming back. I'm like, goddamn, where do you go next? How do you recover from this?
Right.
And they did. Like, I mean, so I think you really want to answer, like, I'm going to side with Toe on they don't need him back, but I fucking need him back. The pro wrestling community needs this storyline to I love reality in my wrestling, and we haven't seen anything like this. Like I'm really trying to rack my brain and think of anything that's come close to this in the last like 10 years. And I can't think of a storyline. Like,
I'm with you, dude. They don't need him. The company will roll on with or without him.
Yeah.
But we need this storyline. Professional wrestling today needs this storyline. I want to see, like, I want to believe that those guys all fucking hate each other, and maybe they really do, and that's great. But like, fucking book it, man. Like, let's see it. Like,
can you imagine All Out? The entrances of CM Punk versus Kenny Omega, the moment where they're each in their individual corner, fucking Taz and Excalibur's building the hype on the commentary. The crowd is at a roar, and that fucking bell rings, dude. Goosebumps, big fight feel. Come on,
rock.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that, but personally, CM Punk better come ready to fucking go.
Yeah, he's a brittle man.
And I mean, I am in Tom's square here, so I'm gonna say maybe it has been a work the whole fucking time. Maybe he just really needed time to get healthy, and this is the payoff. Like,
what is it about this square, man?
The bottom right square, man.
This should come with a tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the first one to say, like, I'm with Chad. I've been all over the place on it too. You know, I originally thought, like, you know, Punk's been hurt in literally every fucking big match he's had since he's come back, or doing some shit stupid like jumping over the barricade into the crowd. Like, I was like, he doesn't fucking have it anymore. So long, good riddance. Once, you know, I heard he wasn't coming back, but that was when I thought there was no opportunity or chance for this to actually be a thing. And now that I can't let it go, now that I know it's a possibility, and I want it, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes this such a compelling story in pro wrestling right now for me, is the fact that both sides of this argument have such validation to them. Yeah. If somebody's like, fuck Punk, I don't want him back, I get it. But also, like, and I get
the heat when you do bring him back.
Right. I get the people who just like Punk and pull for Punk too. I get that. But to me, it's like, I'm not for the guy. I'm not against the guy. I'm for the story. And there is a story in the middle of this that could be great. Now, they could bring it back and botch the whole fucking story, and then none of it ever mattered. But if they did it right,
what if so say they bring him back, but they don't even touch this story. They act like it never happened, and he goes after the All Atlantic title.
You don't bother bringing him back.
Yeah,
that's worse. Yeah. Do it. Go 100% with it. Go all fucking into the storyline, or don't bring him back at all. That'll be the biggest fumble in this company's history. If they bring him back and they pretend like the brawl out never happened, I cannot stress enough how much of a fucking mistake that is. There is no way. I'm not a Punk guy, man. I mean, full disclosure, I was not like, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, but I've had times where I've fallen out and come back to it, and I was not watching actively during Punk's heyday, either in ROH or WWE. So like, my experience with Punk is Punk in AEW. So I'm not a Punk guy by any means, but I do want to see this fucking storyline play out.
Yeah. I'm not a Punk guy either, but Like it wrote itself already.
Yeah.
Now we just need to. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it like that.
You can't make this shit up. You can't write it.
Yeah.
It wrote like it's.
And Tony Khan's trying to make this shit up,
Yeah.
and it's not working.
No, I think the thing that makes this very, very tricky, very, very tricky. Last thing I'll say is you've got Omega and the Bucks. Both of their contracts are up this year. You've got FTR's contracts coming up in April, and you've got CM Punk under contract sitting here. And I think CM Punk being brought back is a major player right now for both FTR and the Elite re-signing with this company. And I think Tony Khan is he's being smart about not releasing Punk from his contract, keeping him there while I bet he's trying to finagle something behind the scenes. He's an idiot if he's just like, I'm not bringing him back. He would have been released, man. He's trying to do something. I just want,
we also got to wait until he heals because he broke his foot. So
I think he's about ready to go. I mean, he's posting stories on his Instagram, working out and shit. So
I don't know, man. Should be interesting.
I think
Should be interesting.
A lot of moving parts. A lot of people are affected by his possible return.
Yeah,
I'm loving all the breadcrumbs, man, that we're getting, via Dax, or like we were talking earlier, Kenny doing Renee's podcast and a couple others here and there. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be as excited if it doesn't pay off. Like, if we keep, why are we hearing about it if that's not what we're working to?
You got to. This is the type of shit, like, we all love the on-screen product, but as just an adult wrestling fan, I eat this shit up.
Yeah,
like, I'm loving the breadcrumbs of this. I'm wanting to see how they work it out.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Does anybody have anything final to add to this before we wrap up for the evening?
Let's get those midgets in here with the tiki torches, man. Ready.
There's the pencil. Book it. Grab it.
I got you.
Yeah. All right, man. So it's been a lot of fun having you back. You're always welcome here.
Yeah, always a good time.
Yeah.
Good laughs.
Let everybody know where they can find you guys.
We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all under the Knucklehead Network. We do Monday through Friday, a podcast a day on different topics. Tonight we got the sports, which is Wednesday. We got the sports, and we're all over the place. I'll be here longer than we went trying to tell you. But
awesome, man. Well, yeah, guys, make sure you guys follow so you can get links to everything that he just talked about. Make sure you guys go follow the Knucklehead Network. But yeah, that's going to wrap us up for this edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. Make sure you guys are following theturnbuckletavern.com for all of your tavern needs. That conspiracy theory, bottom right spot. Colton, it's your time. Get your shit in.
You guys can find me at mullet.mania on Instagram. And this Thursday, March 2nd, Honor Society is back. Me and the Ace of the Tavern, Ace Field, are going to be going live at 10 p.m. after the first ROH show this Thursday, man. So tune in. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
Saucy Montalto lives.
Court is.